Welcome everyone to our podcast, Cry, Laugh, Eat, Making Friends with Your Emotions. We're so glad you're here with us today. My name is Ruth and we have a great surprise for you, and it has to do with the music today.
Hello, I'm Helen and we have a special guest, and the music today is our wonderful guest, Stephanie Dass.
We are so blessed to have her on today. She's an amazing musician.
Welcome, Steph.
Hello.
Steph, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself? Anything you like.
Hello. Yes, so I love swimming in the ocean. I'm a bit obsessed, actually. It's so relaxing. I went this morning. It's a great way to start my morning. I have 2 little chihuahuas who are my fur babies.
Aww.
I love singing and songwriting, creating, making a mess, which is also creating. And I love good food and good people.
Oh, that's so cool. And I just want the listeners out there to know that Steph's very modest. She is an incredible musician. And actually, Steph, you have a website or something, don't you?
I sure do.
That you want to
Are you
just
plugging me?
Why not? I'd love everyone to listen to Steph singing. So do you just want to quickly say what that website is?
So it's my full name, Stephanie Dass. That's D for dog, A for apple, double S for September, .com. So stephaniedass.com.
In fact, we'll put that link on our show notes for today, so that if you want to listen to Steph, it's really worth it.
Thank you.
We just have a fun question to start with, Steph.
I like fun questions.
Yeah. If you could pick any theme song to represent your life, what song would you pick?
Oh, that's like the hardest question to ever answer.
And why?
Yeah. I think the theme song would change depending on my mood, depending where I'm going,
So agree.
depending what I need. But for today, I'm thinking Happy by Pharrell Williams.
Oh, I love that song.
Oh.
Because I'm happy.
Clap your
Lovely.
hands.
Moving along.
She always moves me along. when I
Ruth
wanna
gave
sing.
Helen a very serious look then.
Thank you for sharing that, Steph. We've invited Steph here today to share a recent experience where she made friends with one of the 6 core emotions. So I'll hand the time over to Steph, and if you just want to share with us any experience that you think might help others, and we'll ask you questions.
Okay. So the reason I chose Happy as the theme song is because happiness is the emotion I wanted to talk about. I was going for a morning walk. So for those who live on the Gold Coast, you know it's humid at like 5 a.m. And I'm never up that early. So it was about 8 a.m.
So it's even more.
It was ridiculous. But always by the beach, there's always a cool breeze. So I thought, I'm going to walk by the beach. And I was walking on the path, power walking, like trying to look all cool and, fit. And then it started drizzling. And I was like, oh, yes, I would love if it just poured down with rain. That would be so cool. I would feel like I was in a movie and just be walking in the rain.
Singing in the rain.
And singing in the rain. And the rain started getting heavier and it just made me more excited. And then it started pouring down and I was walking with my arms wide open and with the biggest smile, and I'm looking up and I'm opening my mouth, letting all the little
rain
drops come in. Probably not the healthiest thing. And it was really funny because as I was walking, I saw a lot of people with frowns and kind of huffing and puffing like they were trying to just get back to their car or whatever. And I saw this one lady with a dog and she looked as happy as I did. And I said, isn't it beautiful and amazing? And she went, yes, isn't it? And we both were just laughing and exchanging joy. And then we're chatting as we're like walking opposite directions. And I yelled to her, we're the half glass full kind of people. She's like, we are. And I was like, yes. And then I was just kind of jumping in puddles. And
That's so cool.
yeah, it was fun.
That's something I personally love about you, Steph, is that you find happiness in so many things.
And it's really interesting that you find happiness in the simplest of things. It's wonderful that you shared that experience because it takes an appreciation for something, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I love how you got excited. What made you excited about the rain?
Because I was so hot.
Yeah.
And it's just, also I think there's something about nature, connecting with the
Yes.
ocean, the rain, trees. I know I sound like a hippie, but I'm telling you now, that's
No.
if you take your shoes off and just stand on grass, like that's
Absolutely.
it's
Absolutely.
amazing. And I think just the rain hitting my skin, it just made me feel grateful for nature and the creations we have.
I
And
love it.
yeah,
So that connection to earth and all of nature really helped you to feel, I suppose, grateful, excited,
yeah,
free.
yeah.
Did anything happen, like, when you were sitting your arms wide out and just opening your mouth and you were totally joyful, and in that moment, did you notice other people looking, and perhaps were they influenced in any way by your response to the rain?
Yeah. So at first, when it was raining, like I said, and people were frowning, I was kind of like keeping to myself and a bit giggly inside. But then I was like, why am I containing, is that the right word? Why am I holding back my excitement? Who cares? So I just was, arms were open and I was like, wee. I'm a grown woman, by the way.
Yeah, how old are you, Steph?
Old enough to not be making the wee sound in public.
I love it.
But that's when I noticed people were kind of smiling or having a giggle. And
that is the beauty of happiness, that when we are free to express it, it actually is like a little, what is it?
Well, can I jump in?
You have. By all means, Mrs. French.
There's a quote from our book with the emotion happiness, and happiness is talking about the feelings that come with it. This is what I thought of. Happiness says, these feelings light up the child in you and help you to enjoy life, express yourself, connect with yourself, and connect with others. Is that how you felt that day?
yeah, 100%. And if it's okay, another thought just came to my mind.
Of course.
It's actually about somebody else's happiness. So I woke up one morning and I didn't have a very good sleep, and just saying, when you don't have a good sleep, it's not a good start to the morning. And I just felt really overwhelmed and just stressed. I don't know what about, but it was just like a horrible feeling in my heart, in my mind, just too much. And I was like, I need the ocean. So I went for a walk on the beach, and normally straight away I'm quite connected and it goes away and I feel joy. And it was taking a bit longer, and I was walking and I was praying and I'm like, why can't I feel better? And it just wasn't happening. And then I saw this lady. She would have been, I reckon, in her 50s, not like a super skinny woman, just a good, normal figured woman. And she had headphones in a bikini and she was dancing
That's so cool.
by herself. And my energy just, like my vibration just lifted, and I just had the hugest smile on my face just from seeing her not care about anyone, not care about what she looks like, who's watching. And she was going for it. She wasn't crazy. She was just dancing and having fun. And I just couldn't stop smiling. From that moment, I felt happy. And then I walked up to her and I said, she had to take her headphones off because she still had them on. I said, I'm sorry to interrupt your dancing. You are just so amazing. You have made my morning. I just want to thank you, and please keep dancing, keep being you, because you've just been contagious to me and you've lifted my spirits and brought me joy. And my whole mood changed. From then, all that stuff that was bothering me just disappeared.
I love that.
Oh, that's a fantastic experience, isn't it? Can you share with us maybe any lessons you've learned from happiness? Not just those experiences, but maybe just any experiences you've had with that emotion.
Yeah, well, I was actually listening to this really amazing podcast of these two very articulate, intuitive, beautiful two women. I think their names were Helen and Ruth. And
Imposters.
what caught my eye was the caption, "Why can't I feel happy?" And I was like, that's me. Even though I'm majority happy. I listened to it, and I learned so much from that episode of your podcast. And what I really loved was happiness. I know I've been describing it very joyful and energetic, which it is and it can be. But I love how you explained a feeling of peace, a feeling of relief, even just a feeling of you're in the shower and you're like, Like that is happiness. And I never really thought about it that way. I thought it had to be high energy and excitable. But I was like, wow, I do feel happy more often than I realize because I feel that peace or calm or relief or safe, the things that you both shared. So thank you. I learned from you.
Well, we learned a lot about that too, didn't we? And in our research, we were shocked to hear that joy, the emotion of joy and all those, I guess, relevant feelings that go with joy are the most experienced in a human day. So it's interesting.
I love the things you've shared, Steph. We get those bursts of happiness sometimes. Do you find that you can draw back on that, say that experience at the beach? It doesn't always stay, does it? You might wake up one morning, like you said, and you just feel a bit heavy. And what do you do in those times?
That's a really good point. It's hard sometimes to maintain or stay in that joy or that peace because life happens. So for me, I feel prayer is a very important part of my life. So I'll always say a prayer just for peace or just to help me feel calm. But what you said about drawing on those experiences, there's power in that. Like I find myself, if I'm just, say, in a normal, regular mood, and I start to tell a story to a friend about something that's funny, that'll make me laugh and pick me up. So I think that's why they say, like, have a vision board or have something that you look at or something that reminds you of emotions, or you look at pictures of your holidays and you're like, oh, remember when this? It brings the feeling back. That helps me.
That's wonderful. If you could leave a message with the listeners today, what would that message be?
I think it would be something that Ruth actually picked out of what I said that I didn't really realize I was doing, but is finding gratitude in, I think, actually there's a quote, hopefully I can remember it, that don't focus so intensely on your problems that you can't see the solution. And a good friend of mine said, what you focus on grows to the exclusion of anything else. So if you're focusing on what's going wrong or how bad you feel, there's no room to feel anything else. So I think if we focus on what we're grateful for, like right now, I'm grateful for the air conditioning, or I'm like, oh, I'm grateful for the cooler weather, or I'm grateful, for the parking spot that I found and didn't have to wait. I think being aware of all the little things that are good that happen in our lives and being grateful for that, that can help you start to look for what's good in your life. And then that becomes your focus, and then that grows.
What a powerful message about gratitude and being aware. And I think that's probably an area I need to think about is I'm not always aware. I have to really stop for a moment. You have to be still and just think about what you can be grateful for sometimes, don't you?
Yeah.
Think of that morning you woke up and you hadn't had much sleep. Do you think it's gratitude that helped you want to go to the beach? Because you could have stayed home feeling miserable. Does it help you seek out?
Yeah. And you just brought up a point that I didn't realize that I did. I could have stayed in bed. I could have been cranky all day. I could have whatever. But I think that's the key, is I wanted to feel better. I had the desire. I wanted to feel happy. No self-sabotage for me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Many years of that. But yeah, just having that desire, like, hey, we all have a choice. We always have a choice, which I also learned from your podcast. We can choose to be angry, or we can choose to feel peace or feel love. I'm not saying it's easy.
No.
Definitely not easy.
It's really simple, but it's not easy, is it?
Yeah, exactly.
I loved your story about that morning when you walked on the beach and you weren't feeling happy and it wasn't shaking. But I guess it's just those little steps, one step at a time. The beach is amazing, but it didn't work straight away, did it? Until you saw that lady. So sometimes it is just taking little steps towards what we hope we're going to feel.
Yeah, and I think with that lady, like, for me, that's also key, that if I'm living in my element and feeling joy and just being my true self, that will help other people as well. So if, say, in the rain, even though I loved it and I just wanted to open my arms, like if I just kept that inside because I felt ashamed or embarrassed, then I wouldn't have had that wonderful conversation with that other lady and made other people smile. So I think sometimes we can be a bit less selfish by being our true self and having that effect on other people.
I love you brought that up because I thought of it earlier and then forgot. Your story about the lady on the beach, but also that lady you stopped to talk to in the rain, it made me reflect on how our own happiness can bubble out and impact someone else we might never know.
Yeah.
But to me, it was about you were just being yourself. Like when you walked up to the lady on the beach dancing, you were just being yourself. That's beautiful. You may have made her day too.
I loved what Steph said about being grateful. I think that all happiness and peace begins with gratitude. Just being grateful for the very small things in our life. And Helen and I actually talked about that this morning, didn't we? It was to do with our weight, but we decided in the end we should be very grateful for our bodies.
Yes.
Regardless of their silhouette. Yeah. So we just want to thank you out there for spending time with us today, and a very special thank you again to Steph for taking time about her busy life and sharing her experiences and lessons with us.
And a big thank you from me to Steph. I hope listeners will have felt what we were feeling here in this room.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so welcome. You can find us on social media. Check out the show notes. We'll have links to Steph and her music, and you can have a listen to her. And we look forward to talking with you next week. Y'all come back now, you hear?
Bye. Later.
Bye.
Bye.
We would love it, Steph, if you would just introduce yourself a little.
And also I was silent. You're like, welcome, Steph. And I'm like, am I allowed to talk now? Oh, anything. Well, I love, oh gosh, sorry. I might have to start again because I just kicked the microphone.
That's okay.
Great blooper.